Hi, it's Anne here, and today's video is my second update for my No Pan Left Behind project for 2024. I do apologize that I look the same as one of my other videos. I normally try to mix it up, film things on different days, just to make something interesting about the video that's a little different. And again, it's an opportunity to play with makeup, but a little behind on filming, a little behind on getting some stuff up, and I would like to just film this partially so I can feel comfortable moving on to my next palettes for March. So how I'm doing this, it's a no pan left behind project, meaning I need to use each eyeshadow pan in the eyeshadow palettes that I pick at least one time in the month. I have discovered that I had 24 palettes that were, I think it was 16 pans or higher, or 12 pans and higher. Can't remember exactly the number. Must have been 16 pans or higher. So it worked out to 2 palettes a month. Some months, like January, there was a lot of eyeshadows. February, there was less, yet I kind of failed and didn't use every eyeshadow. There are reasons for that, but I'm not too fussed about it. So let's just get into the eyeshadow palettes. I'm not even sure if I have any pictures of any looks, and I apologize. Just been off my game lately, and kind of just using it when I can use it and then not stressing about honestly, I forgot entirely to take pictures. So if I do have pictures, I will put them probably over here somewhere. So the first palette that I was playing with was the Natasha Denona Retro palette. This was really enjoyable. I do like playing with this. The one thing I find though with this, it is kind of one note. It is very monochromatic. So when I was kind of getting tired of this, it was kind of hard to mix it with some other stuff and play with some other stuff. I did mix it with the other palette and some other things, but I did get a little tired of this. This is a palette that I wouldn't want to use for an entire month. For maybe like a week or two, sure, or when I feel like these colors, I'll pull it out, but it's not something that I would just I have certain palettes that I feel like I can use as easy go-to palettes, like the custom palette I had last year for my Pan That palette that I could feel like I could use over and over again and it didn't really bother me, but I kind of got bored with this, if that makes sense. Even though it is colorful, I think it was just the tones. I wasn't always feeling the tones, if that makes sense. Although I did have some surprises, like this shade Patty over here. I didn't wear this till near the end, and I was like, why did I hold off on you, Patty? Because I really liked you. It was a really, really nice, I'm going to regret doing this because I have no Kleenex around here to wipe my fingers off. But yeah, it was a really nice all over the lid shade. It's kind of a peachy, coppery kind of color. But yeah, it worked. And I was like, oh, on the lid, it just looked a little different. I did use every shade in this at least once. A couple shades, I actually think I used this, I marked down 2 times, but I think I used this maybe 3 times because this was a shade that I did combine with my Charlotte Tilbury palette, which just has a brown and a beige. And then I would mix in a little bit of this on the lid as a bit of sparkle, like pink sparkle on the lid. Same with Glitz. I did that a couple times with that one. I used these 2 shades as crease shades. So, oh no, I did miss a color. Rebellion. I didn't use Rebellion. This color in the middle, I thought I did. Kind of looks like I did. I feel like I used that as an eyeliner maybe, but I didn't mark it down. I don't know. That was the only shade that I did not wear, which again, for me, wearing dark colors on the regular is not common because I do have deep set eyes, so I do feel like it draws them in a little too much. They're also asymmetrical, and I feel like when I use dark colors, it highlights that asymmetry a little too much sometimes. So that's why I avoid dark colors very often. But quality-wise, a beautiful palette. Quality-wise, for sure. It's one of those things, I kind of wish... I do have one other eyeshadow palette. This is one where I can see myself mixing and matching or taking the shades out with some other Natasha Denona palettes. I only have one other one. Maybe I need to get more. Because I think I would get more play with it, if that makes sense. I just found, I kind of got bored with this one, if that makes sense. And then this one, I knew this was going to happen. There's a lot of glittery shades in this and a lot of, Bam shades in this, and I knew I wasn't gonna get around to using this. This is the Be Bella Cosmetics Shades of Roses palette. I got this in a subscription box. It's definitely a in-your-face palette. There's a lot going on here. A lot. What shades did I not use? So I definitely did not use these 2 goldy glitter shades right here. I did not use... What other shade did I not use? I did not use this pink shade because I did end up using this pink shade, and using both of them was going to be a lot. So I did use the really bright one though. My camera, the Canon camera does not pick these colors up properly. Kind of, I think it's because I have it kind of set to a little bit of a warmer tone. So this pulls a little more orangey looking. And it never pulls, like this is like a bright fuchsia more than like a Barbie pink, which I think on camera it's showing a little more Barbie pink. It's more of like a fuchsia pink. And then what other color did I not use? I didn't use these two dark colors either. So like this was a fail on my part. I just wasn't feeling it, first of all. I wasn't feeling like, again, gonna sound like a broken record. I'm going to the office a lot more now. And this kind of eyeshadow with the intense colors, I feel like takes a little more time. And it's not that I don't want to wear these colors to work. I did wear a couple of like interesting, like my eyelids today are a little interesting. We'll get to that in a minute. But I was just like, especially with darker colors, I have to think too hard about applying and making sure it looks like good and blended. And I was not there this past month. It just was not happening. Technically, if this were like a project where I was thinking about like decluttering stuff, this would potentially be a chopping block palette. But the reason why it's not, and the reason why I'm not getting rid of it, is it is unique. And I fully admit that this is not an everyday palette for me. There are some shades in here that are everyday, like these brown shades. You can wear them all the time if you really wanted to. But I do like to keep this around for those unique shades when I want to dip into them. So I don't see the point in getting rid of this palette just because, like, I do know it's not one that I'm going to use regularly, but I'm okay with that. Like, I accept that this is, like, an occasional palette. It is not a daily palette. And it's unique enough in my collection that it doesn't overlap with, like, another occasional palette, if that makes sense. So for that reason, I do like to keep this around. And I also feel like, yeah, if I gave this to somebody else, they're probably going to use it around the same amount that I use it. Like, they're not going to, this is not, like I said, a daily palette. It's something you're going to use occasionally. You might use one shade a lot for a little while. But yeah, it's like, again, the quality on this one's fine. I just didn't really gravitate. Like, I really had to force myself to use this one. It was a little difficult. So yeah, that's that palette. So now let's get into the March palettes. Like I said, I pick 2 palettes every month. And one of the reasons why I wanted to film this video is because I wanted to get using these palettes. The first one is the Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde, and I feel like this is a great spring palette. I am wearing this white shade. It's not really white. It's sort of like a, what do you call it, iridescent kind of shade. There's sort of pink and blues in it. It sort of pulled a little bit more blue on my eyes. I think it's because I have a gray eyeshadow underneath it. So you can see it there. It's that second shade there. It's like an iridescent type shade. So yeah, I've already used this. I used this today. I was just ready to pull this out and ready to play with it. So it's like, let's just go for it and move on with our lives and accept, a little bit of a defeat with those other palettes. But yeah, I'm looking forward to playing with this one. And if I have the swatches, I'm going to put them up. If I don't, I'll try and remember to do that for my next update, just because, again, kind of just want to get this video up, so I might not have enough time to get swatches in this video. I think I had swatches on my Instagram, so if I do, I'll try and go find that. And then the other palette that I picked for this month, which I think is going to be an interesting one, it's this one from Viseart. It's the Cool Mattes palette. So I did talk about recently, I did just go on a trip to Mexico, and I did take one of my Viseart palettes with me, but I did a mix and match, and I discovered I didn't mix and match any of this palette. It was not the vibe I was going for. I mean, it was like warm, beachy, and Cool Mattes just don't really fit in that. I do have, like, there were like a black and a brown in there that were neutral, because there is sort of neutral colors in the neutral palettes that I have from Viseart. So yeah, like it wasn't all warm toned. But I realized I didn't pick any of these. I was like, it wasn't really the vibe. Didn't really go with anything that I was bringing in terms of clothing. So that's why this one ended up intact, which was great because I didn't realize it was the palette that I was going to have for March. So I didn't have to like worry about reconstructing this guy. So yeah, this is the Viseart Cool Mattes. I'm looking forward to playing with this. Again, I've already used it today. I mixed these 2 shades, the gray and the brown, in my crease. And then I sort of just blended that gray over my lid a little bit, like very lightly, underneath that like white iridescent color. So I am looking forward to playing with this. I think it will be a good month. I need to do my little like ticky papers. I was just really excited to get playing with these this morning and didn't have time to do that. So I'll try and get that done later this week so I don't miss marking off anything. And then I am going to throw another palette in this month. I don't know how well that's going to go considering how much I failed last month, but I think I'm going to keep this one in for 2 months, so I'm not pressuring myself. And again, it is no pan left behind, but I'm not going to pressure myself if I don't hit all the pans on this particular palette, because it's like, it's a freebie. It's an ad. Well, it was a freebie because it was gifted to me from Ruth. So thank you, Ruth. Last month, and I talked about, like, I haven't even used this, and I'm normally the kind of person that when I get new makeup, it's like, get on my face. Like, I really want to play with it. I want to get my fingers in there. I want to play with it. I've only swatched a little bit of this one. So again, I don't have swatches. I probably won't have swatches of this one. Try maybe put some on my Instagram this week, so it'll kind of coordinate in time with this video. But yeah, I'm excited to just get my hands dirty with this, play with it for a bit. I'm not going to stress out if I don't use all of the shadows, but it's only, how many is it? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. So 14 shadow palettes, so it does belong in the project. And then I've talked about it, I did swatch this shade. It's very similar to the Kaja Moon thing that I already have. So anyway, so I am going to throw this in as well. I feel like it's a very spring-ish, and I think it will work well with these other 2 palettes, so that's why I have picked it. It's sort of balanced. The other 2 palettes are more cool tone. I feel like this is cool and warm. It's kind of an in-betweeny. There's some shades in the Huda Beauty one that are a bit warm tone too. So yeah, that's the plan for March. I'm hoping it'll go better. I'm already feeling a little bit better about it than I was last month on this project, but I am starting to lose my light, so I think I need to wrap this video up. If you did like this video, feel free to give a little thumbs up down below, and if you haven't already, I would love it if you subscribe to my channel here in Toronto, Canada. I hope you're doing well, and I'll see you sometime soon. Bye.